Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Monday, May 2, 2022. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Guyana boots officially open at Offshore Technology Conference in Houston. Workers are the backbone of our economy and they will reap benefits of Guyana's development, says President Ali. Union leaders call for swift implementation of new minimum wage for workers. It is much easier to live in peace and humility, says President Ali in EID-UL-FITR message, and a 25% reduction in serious crimes, but robbery up by 300% in Region 6. Now for the news in detail. Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat, along with Chief Executive Officer of GUYANA'S Dr. Peter Ramsarup, United States Ambassador Sarah Ann Lynch, and Honorary Consul General of Guyana Lutfi Hassan, officially led the ribbon-cutting ceremony this morning to mark the grand opening of the Guyana booths at the Offshore Technology Conference, the largest oil and gas sector trade show in the world. This ceremoniously marks Guyana's third time participating at this international conference. The show is a four-day event commencing today, May 2, and ending May 5 in Houston, Texas, at the NRG Stadium. Participation at OTC allows for Guyanese businesses to learn of and to seek partners in pursuit of emerging opportunities in the country. Participating at OTC will help Guyana to bring more of the supply chain opportunities to its shores. A critical element of this mission is education, connections, and networking. The conference has the attendance of energy professionals, engineers, executives, operators, scientists, and managers from across the world and all fields in the offshore energy sector. Industry leaders will discuss licensing and business opportunities as well as recently introduced technologies. On the occasion of Labor Day, President Dr. Irfan Ali has recognized the contribution of workers to the economy, noting that they will not be left behind as transformation and development take shape. Rupa Sinarain reports.
President Dr. Irfan Ali acknowledged the contribution of the Guyanese workforce in the various industries during his virtual address to the nation for Labor Day.
Workers' contributions cannot be erased, forgotten, or diminished. Whether it was in the field or factory, on the waterfront or in the offices, workers have been at the forefront of campaigning for betterment. Through their exertions, struggles, and sacrifices, they have been able to secure greater rights and improve the lot of the working class. Today, workers are protected by our country's constitution and progressive labor laws.
In the future, the head of state informed that workers across the country will share equitably in the benefits of a growing economy. According to him, the new economy will bring about better incomes and newer employment opportunities.
Our vision for workers' development is holistic and broad-based. We are firmly rooted to the working class. We want the national workforce to enjoy increased and better opportunities. We are courting increased investments so as to create more jobs. The new economy that is being fashioned will help us to deliver these and other benefits to workers. The new economy will spawn great opportunities for employment and improve incomes and generate new and more enterprising career paths.
Ali also highlighted the recent measures by government to address the rising cost of living stemmed from recognizing the challenges brought on by COVID-19 and other extremities.
In this year's budget, we have set aside more than $5 billion to ease cost of living. And we have said that we are going to implement a program based on this allocation after consultation with the workers. And that consultation is taking place so we can give the best possible spending, the best possible cash injection where it matters most to the workers. We have removed more than 200 burdensome taxes and fees that were imposed on the backs of workers by the previous APNU-AFC government.
Under the new economy, the president has said that every working-class family will be afforded the opportunity to own their own home and have access to potable water, electricity, and sanitization services. Rupa Sinarain, The Evening News.
Labor Day 2022 saw hundreds of workers taking to the streets for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic hit, as well as calls from union leaders for the new minimum wage recommended by the National Tripartite Committee to be implemented. Here are the details from Gerald Bryan.
In his address to workers, Federation of Independent Trade Unions of Guyana, FITR President Carvel Duncan zeroed in on the minimum wage issue. According to him, the private sector should take the initiative when it comes to paying workers a livable wage.
There are some employers who is saying to us they are willing to pay the $60,000, but at the same time they need the state to make the pronouncement and make the law. I say to them now, if you have the ability to pay and you are satisfied that your workers are poorly paid, then pay them and don't wait on nobody.
There is a recommendation from the National Tripartite Committee for the minimum wage to be increased from $47,000 to $60,000 for the private sector. This increase was greenlit by the Private Sector Commission last year, and up to earlier this year was before Cabinet. Meanwhile, GAWU General Secretary C. Paul Narain was on the same page as Duncan when it comes to paying workers an increased minimum wage.
We had anticipated that by this time that the new minimum wage of $60,000 per month, which enjoys the support of the social partners, would have been implemented. It is our considered view that it is very difficult for any worker to survive on the current minimum wage. At this time, the current minimum wage, when adjusted for inflation, since it was implemented, is worth less than $39,000 monthly. And therefore, the proposed $60,000 may require further consideration for higher adjustment.
Gerald Bryan, The Evening News.
President Dr. Irfan Ali today underscored the importance of Guyanese leading lives of peace and humility, noting that everyone has the ability to inculcate these principles into their daily lives. According to him, living such lives will result in a better community, society, and country. The head of state was at the time delivering remarks at the EID-UL-FITR celebrations at the Muslim Youth Organization. Let's take a look at the President's message on this auspicious day, which is celebrated by Muslims worldwide because it marks the end of the month-long dawn to sunset fasting period of Ramadan.
Ramadan emphasized to us, not only as Muslims, but emphasize to humanity as a family, that we are created with the ability to love. We are created with the ability to be peaceful. We are created with the ability to be humble. We are created with the ability to be charitable. We are created with the ability to make sacrifices. We are created with the ability to be respectful. We are created with the ability to love. And more importantly, we are created with the ability to be better than we are. If we are to ensure that the virtues and blessings of Ramadan continues, and the blessings of Ramadan continues, then we should all aspire to take some of this forward, so that our lives can be completely improved. We all know it is much easier to live in peace. It is much easier to live in humility. It is the most wonderful thing to wake up with your families and eat together, to do iftar together, to join your communities and your masjids in doing iftar together. Let not Ramadan only be the occasion in which we get together in community. Let Ramadan not only be the occasion in which we express these beautiful virtues. what Ramadan has done for us is demonstrated to us that we have the ability to do it. Now that we have proven to ourselves once again that we have this ability, then we must all make it a way of life. You do not need to be a rich person to give charity. Sometimes there's a misconception that charity is a responsibility of those who are better off. Charity is a responsibility of every single one of us. Your smile is your charity. Your good manners is your charity. Your ability to say thank you is your charity. Your ability to be disciplined is your charity. So charity is for every single one of us. I pray that God Almighty forgive us, that He accept all the sacrifices we have made in the month of Ramadan, and He bless us and our families with good life, with good health, and with continued success. Eid Mubarak, Eid Mubarak, Eid Mubarak. Assalamu alaikum.
Coming up, 27-year-old killed by speeding drunken driver in Vlasingen Road smash-up, and Venezuelan national killed in East Coast Demerara hit and run. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality, or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Satco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store, located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rheinveld.
Try our virtual sports and win big with so much matches to choose from. Betting starts at $100. Play for your chance to win. Log on to www.superbet.gy or visit any one of our agents to place your bets. Terms and conditions apply. Have fun and play responsibly. Must be 18 and over to play.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. A 27-year-old passenger in a motor car was during the wee hours of Sunday killed in a tragic two-vehicle smash-up at Vlasingen Road and Sandy Bab Street, Georgetown. Dead is Ian McDeasy, a national squash player, while his friend, 31-year-old Sheikh Bash, who was the driver of the motor car, is in critical condition, battling for his life. The duo's car was heading out of Sandy Bab Street when a speeding motor jeep, driven by a drunken driver, jumped the traffic lights and crashed into them at around 2 hours. At the time of the accident, the jeep was proceeding along Vlasingen Road. At the intersection, the driver of the motor car was reportedly crossing on the green light, but the driver of the jeep failed to stop, thus causing a collision. McDeasy and Bash sustained injuries to their bodies and were picked up by an ambulance in an unconscious condition and taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital. Bash was admitted as a patient to the emergency unit at the hospital, suffering from a broken left arm, a laceration to the head, and a punctured left lung. McDeasy, on the other hand, was pronounced dead on arrival. A breathalyzer test administered on the driver of the jeep proved that he was exceedingly above the legal alcohol consumption limit. We now tell you that a construction worker was killed following a hit-and-run accident on Saturday evening along the Better Hope Public Road, East Coast Demerara. Dead is 37-year-old Lizardo Bastardo, originally from Tucupita volcano, Venezuela. The accident reportedly occurred at about 23:55 hours and involved a white motorcar. The registration number remains unknown. Police stated that the white motorcar was proceeding along the Better Hope East Coast Demerara Highway when Bastardo attempted to cross the road. Bastardo ended up in the path of the motorcar, thus causing a collision. He was reportedly dragged several feet by the vehicle, which then sped away. An ambulance was summoned and a doctor attached to the Georgetown Public Hospital pronounced the construction worker dead at the scene. This newscast understands that Bastardo had left his native country in May 2021 to seek better living conditions. He would work and send money to his family, including his 3 daughters, who remained in the Spanish-speaking country. Police are now looking for the driver and the vehicle involved in the fatal hit-and-run accident after collecting parts of the vehicle found at the scene. The body of one of 2 persons who went missing when a boat submerged in the Kanji River on Friday night has been found. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael reports.
The body of 29-year-old Richard John of Maimai Dam, Angais Avenue, was fished out of the river at about 17 hours on Sunday. The body was identified by his brother Dennis John, who was the captain of the boat. The body was discovered around the same area where the boat submerged. The search is still on for Shalon Williamson, a 27-year-old mother of 3, who was in the vessel at the time of the mishap. On Friday at about 20 hours 30 just off the Kanji Bridge, the boat with the captain and 3 passengers started taking water and eventually sunk. The captain and his 2 brothers were able to swim away from the boat. Realizing that Williamson was left behind, the now dead man returned to the boat and was not seen until his lifeless body was discovered floating some 34 hours later. Reports are that the Coast Guard approached the boat and apprehended the crew by tying the boat to a pontoon, which subsequently started to sink. As it went down, it pulled the boat with it, causing it to capsize and take in water, eventually being submerged. The captain subsequently related that he was asleep when he was awoken by Williamson, who told him that there was water in the boat. At the time, there was more than 1 foot of water in the vessel. Efforts were made to bail the boat, but it was taking in water faster than they could have bailed it, causing the brothers to abandon the mission and flee to safety, leaving Williamson, who could not swim, in the sinking vessel. On Saturday, Williamson's mother, Donna DeCaries, told the Evening News that she was still hopeful that she will find her daughter alive. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
There has been a reduction in serious crime in Region 6 for the first 4 months of the year, compared with the first 4 months of last year. This is according to Commander Budnarain Prasad, who however noted that robbery has increased by a whopping 300%. Here is Andrew Carmichael again with the details.
For the first 4 months this year, there were 12 instances of robbery compared with 4 for the same period last year, representing a 300% increase. According to the commander, Budnarain Prasad, there was a 2-month period when robberies in the region stood at 0.
So for the entire March and April, we have seen a quiet period, and that, during those robbery periods, we did several evacuations, several raids. We were able to take 6 firearms off the road, 5 small arms, 1 shotgun.
The commander said illegal drug cultivation fields with an estimated street value in excess of $500 million were destroyed during the first 4 months of the year. So far for the year, there were 4 murders. The suspects in the first 3 have all been arrested and charged, while the suspect for the 4th is currently in police custody and is expected to be charged shortly.
As I'm speaking, there is a report that someone joined a motor car at Money Changer to go and do business. And he eventually reported that somewhere in number 19, he was picked up by the same person who supposed to be persons changing money and robbed of 1.5 million.
The commander pointed out that if persons are doing business with someone and the person is coming with their own vehicle, they should be acquainted with that person.
But that is a robbery that occurred after 2 months. We had a quiet period.
Of concern to the department, the commander pointed out, is noise nuisance, of which they are receiving frequent reports.
So noise nuisance, The issue we are getting is that when you take this matter to the court, you have to have a complainant, because nice nuisance, you must make loud and continuous nice to the annoyance of someone whose name should be mentioned on the chat. And persons that we want, just want to be unanimous calls. So sometimes the police will be, lucky enough to go and reach the music plane.
Meanwhile, as it relates to traffic, there is a 250% increase in road deaths when compared with the first 4 months of last year. So far for the year, there have been 5 deaths in the region compared with 1 for the corresponding period last year. The commander blames the increase on the lifting of the curfew.
These accidents occurred within a span of 2 weeks, 4 fatal accidents. And that was exactly after the curfew period would have lifted. And we did some work after. We were blessed with 2 additional vehicles, Commissioner, and we were able to have a crisscross patrol and take that down. Also, some of the things that we've been doing in our patrol, we have intel vehicles working. You may not be seeing the person or the vehicle, but we do have persons out there who are working seriously in getting crime rate down by identifying some of the known characters and movements of persons that are suspected to be committing these acts.
Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
We now tell you that head of the Local Content Secretariat, Martin Pertab, has disclosed that they are working with operators in the oil and gas industry to provide training for local persons and suppliers so that they can be deemed eligible to benefit from opportunities in the sector. Details in this report.
Speaking at a seminar hosted on opportunities for the diaspora in Guyana's new economy, head of the Local Content Secretary Martin Pertab highlighted the work they have been doing to get operators in the oil and gas sector in line with the legislation so that Guyanese persons and companies can benefit from the industry. However, he pointed out that one of the complaints they get is the burden of training that locals have to incur.
For example, in the welding and fabrication, training is a huge burden. And what happens is that these locals would have to invest in training. They would have to invest in bringing the Guyanese up to a standard where the subcontractor would deem them eligible. And then, of course, chances are, and this is one of the concerns, is that a few months thereafter you would find some of those very same employees as what we consider was what we would call jumping ships to the subcontractors. So there's no way they could recoup that investment.
According to Pertab, they have been pushing for the operators to provide training not only for employees but local suppliers as well in order to offset that burden.
We have tens of local suppliers who are interested in providing these services, but they don't have the kind of standard that these companies would deem them eligible in order for them to participate. So what we have said to them is that you have to provide training to our locals to ensure that you yourself would consider them eligible so they can participate in the procurement process. And that's under our objective of boosting local participation.
The Local Content Secretariat head further outlined that based on the plans being submitted by contractors, they are surprised that the kind of skill sets that are needed by operators and subcontractors in the petroleum sector.
And I've been quite surprised to see the kind of skill set that is needed. The bulk so far hasn't been as what we have anticipated, and those information again will be presented. We can have a discussion with Labour on all the major stakeholders and how do we address and how do we put proper system measures in place to ensure that our locals are up to, I would say, standard of it in terms of reaching the criteria would deem them eligible to participate. So in the plan we have also included as part of the guideline that subcontractors would have to prove to us in a sense before approval is given, how do they intend to bridge knowledge gap. That's a major concern here in country. We have a lot of people with the qualification but no experience. And we don't want to be in it, and essentially as of now we're in a chicken and egg situation. These companies are requesting experience and we can't get the experience if we can't get the work. So the idea is to have them make the first move. They'll have to provide training, whether in person or through mentorship, to our locals who are interested, and of course to our local suppliers.
LaWanda McAllister for the Evening News.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbor Bridge is expected to be closed on Tuesday, May 3, 2022 at 3 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed on Tuesday, May 3, 2022 at 5 hours 5 for a period of 1.5 hours.
Guyana, first in CONCACAF to launch football for schools, and Space Gym 2.0, the best gym experience in the Caribbean. Details of these stories and more in the Sportcast, sponsored by Macorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Factory and dockyard owners, Sylvie's now has in stock the 5000 PSI North Star Heavy Duty Pressure Washer. It delivers industrial strength cleaning power and durability, blasting through the toughest caked on mud, dirt and debris. Great for prepping concrete surfaces, stripping paint and removing barnacles. Shop now at sylviesonline.com or visit our 31 High and Hatfield Street store. We also deliver. Call or WhatsApp 623-7755 for more info.
It happens. Your septic tank is full. All the waste from your toilet goes into your septic tank through the sewage line. When your tank is full, the two most common indicators are an overflowing tank and an overflowing toilet. It is recommended that Sevon's Waste Management empty your septic tank every 2 to 3 years to avoid any embarrassment. And before you can say, shh, it's gone. Call Sevon's Waste Management today at 218-1455 or 218-1156.